Hey, my name is Eric. I'm making a game. That game is called The Godkiller. The Godkiller. The Godkiller. The Godkiller. The Godkiller. The Godkiller. You gotta say it 7 times now. You have to. You have to say it 7 times every time you say it. Otherwise, I don't know. Things are left incomplete. So I'm not here to be OCD. I'm here to show you my game. I'm here to demo a bit, just a little bit, because really I'm here to finish the game, to complete it. I'm not going to try to entertain you too much. After I get done demoing, I'll move on and do some work. And that's a lovely Saturday for me. I don't know about you, but I would just rather be doing this than watching TV. It's just, I'd rather be doing this than laying next to a pool. Other things other people really want to do, I really want to do this. This is good for me. Progress. I totally forgot what I did last night. That's why I'm going to go up to my release notes. Okay. So last night was, after I got done with the day job, I just said, I could make another level, but I know I've got like 4 levels that are going to keep the playtesters busy because they're harder than other ones. And I was starting to get this feeling kind of like I'm a fraud or something, because of like some bugs building up, and some of them were kind of bad. Some of them, it was embarrassing to me when I heard a couple playtesters kind of sweep the bug under the rug that was obviously affecting their gameplay about this unwanted key repeat after you fling. And they were just trying to be nice, or there's some kind of edit in their head. I think our playtesters are really nice. They're not mean. They don't get that same kind of joy that certain testers do in discovering that bug. They kind of want to see the game succeed like I do, and so there's a little bit of a bias there. So whenever I see something that's kind of wrong, I have to push a little bit harder to notice it and to say, yeah, that's wrong, we better fix it. So this key repeat thing was making people's gameplay behavior change a little bit to avoid it. And I don't want anyone to make that kind of accommodation. It should work as you expect it. There's no reason for it not to. So you'd get like this extra command being issued after you did a thing, and it wasn't good. So I fixed that. On the Paradise level, I'm just talking, and I should show. This is supposed to be a demo. Let's go to the Paradise level. Most of the stuff is fixed on the Paradise level, and I've already got it loaded up, so that's good. As mild spoilers, this is like the 2nd level of the game. Sometimes I don't know if Unity's actually doing anything, because it'll wait a little while before it puts the spinner up after I hit the play button. Okay. So, 2nd level of the game. I can't fling yet for story reasons. I fixed the hands. I actually improved them. So they used to look, I don't know, a little bit like cartoon hands, because they had an outline. They were a little bit stylized with the texture to be more like white, not like white skin, but like unnaturally white, And then a shader reference broke. I couldn't get it back how it was very easily. I mean, along the way of trying to get it back to how it was, I hit on a way of rendering the hands I like better. So now they're like slightly glowing. That's the bloom effect with emission. And they're yellowish. And that's fine. I like it better than what I had before. That's not sour grapes either. I really do like how they look better than what was there previously, the way that was lost to me by some kind of bad reference. That also means I get to delete a little bit of code I don't need later on. I'll do that later. Okay, what else? Let's go on to the next room. Another thing that the playtesters were they made a few comments about it, but also there was a little bit of sweeping under the rug, and I realized I needed to zero in on this. Okay, the sound as you approach the apple, it gets more intense, but it used to be when it got this intense that there was a lot of crackling noise. The crackling noise came from what we call in the audio world clipping. It's just the amplitude of the samples when all combined together. When playing like 4 or 5 of these samples all together, it bumped the amplitude up past the maximum amount that could be represented by the speaker hardware. And it sounded distorted and had this. You would know it when you heard it. It's the same noise that you get when you turn your stereo up too loud for the speaker that will. It can't represent the noise. It can't represent it. The signal is gotten so loud that it's losing information. So that was pretty easy. I just had to turn the volume down. But it's one of those things where you can kind of fool yourself into thinking it's okay, and you have to be ready to say, maybe it's not okay. Maybe it could be better. It seems to be bothering people. They're accommodating it. It's irritating them, Okay, what else? Oh yeah, there's the repeat behavior. So I added previous to last night, hold down the key and it repeats, and I was getting like an extra move after a fling. You can't see it too well here because this level isn't set up to. Here's where you would see it. You go, bam. Then maybe instead of flinging just to the edge of this, you'd go, boom, one extra fling all the way up to the top. It's not good. It was changing people's behavior. They were like trying to let up on the key, or even avoid flinging, which is terrible. You shouldn't feel like you gotta baby the interface, All right. And then somebody last night said he thought the stair sound was annoying, and this is where I go in the other direction. I love the stair sound. Other people told me they like it too. So not every piece of feedback I'm going to act on. And there was an error in the dialogue where God says some stuff, and then if you were at the same time flinging around, it would have canceled his dialogue. Oh yeah, the block pads. 2 nights ago, I went through and fixed all the block pads, so that, except in a few cases where I purposely want them this way, they don't intersect with other objects. So cosmetically, they look a lot better. And I did it in a pretty simple way. I just made 2 versions of the block pads. There's the small version, which can be used in any cramped space. It fits neatly inside of one square, or there's the large version that can be used if I've got an area that allows for it. So it's not easy to demo that. There is a secret area where they've got some block pads that I could show, and it also has one other fix in this level. But I said at the beginning, this mild spoilers. If I go to that secret area, then that's a little more of a spoiler, a proper spoiler. So I won't do that. Okay, that's the demo. It was just a grab bag of bug fix. And me trying to be a responsible steward of my own code, you can't let those bugs build up too far. Now, what I want to work on today is an actual change to the game behavior. Let me see if I can find an example. So, flinging. Flinging is you hold down the shift key, and those rays come up, and they just kind of give you a cue as like, what will happen if you fling in that direction? Is it even possible to fling in that direction? There's some rules around that, right? You hold down the shift key, push the direction you want to go, and you go as far as you can in that direction until you hit an obstacle. And it always happens in the same amount of time, instantly. Maybe not instantly, but within milliseconds, like, and not tens of milliseconds. It's fast, and the animation you see is designed to show the movement like as an after effect, to give some indication of where you've been instead of showing the actual travel to that point. So I go here, the player's instantly there. The camera trails a little bit. That's how you see the movement. And there's a trail behind her that shows some indication of where she's been before she arrived at the point she's now at. Okay, that's flinging. Flinging has a wrinkle. You can go upstairs with it. You can go downstairs with it, but you have to be like one step down. So that makes some sense, okay? And it allows you to kind of keep this fast travel going when you get to stairs. I don't want the player, when they arrive at stairs, to think, oh, I was flinging, that was fun, now I gotta walk step by step up the stairs, or I gotta hold down the key. It's not as bad as it used to be. You could hold down the key like that if you want. But it's more fun to just, you see stairs, boop, up to the top. It can be multiple landings, and you just kind of go, doo, 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 doo. You can be up 100 meters in mere seconds. The wrinkle that I want to remove, I thought it might be good, is what happens when you get to the end of the stairs. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, you're up to the top of 4 flights of stairs, just like that. The wrinkle I want to remove is what happens after you get to the end of the stairs. Right now, you just keep on going in that same direction, which seemed at the time to me like the most fun way to handle it and the most logically consistent way to handle it with the sort of the new physics of this world that M is inside of. But you don't really have a good way to figure out where you're going to land. I mean, the amount of reckoning you'd have to do. Okay, and then there's things like, okay, here it's not allowing me to fling up the stairs. The reason is that this trajectory, if you continued it up this upward diagonal path, it would leave the bounds of the level, so the game says that is not a valid fling. But for the player who can't have the same means as the game logic as determining the fling path, they've lost their ability to predict when they're going to be able to fling up and down stairs. So they're here, they can fling up the stairs. They're here, they can't fling up the stairs. It's like they just have to wait for the fling rays to tell them, can I fling up the stairs or not? It would be nicer if they didn't have to think that hard or wait. They just boop, boop, just keep going. They see the stairs, they go up them. Now, if I kept this ability to sort of do the Evel Knievel jump off the stairs and fly up into the air, it would allow me to do things like create areas that you have to jump up this ramp to get to by flinging up the stairs. But the reckoning involved to figure out where you're going to land with those, it would make a class of puzzles that are not that fun. I like a little bit of reckoning puzzles in this. So here's an example of a reckoning puzzle. You can see that there's a little passageway up here, and you can kind of gauge the number of squares by looking on the ground. 1, 2, 3. And just with your sort of intuition about perspective, you can kind of guess that it goes up like that and it matches up there. That's not bad for a reckoning puzzle. So then you can come back over here. You can say, going stairs from this corner, I'm at 1, 2, 3, and then I reckoned wrong actually. So maybe I go 1, 2, 3. There. So that's maybe about the limit of reckoning I want to ask for from players. It might be the wrong word I'm using. Orienteering, where you kind of use different bits of information to figure out the correct path. Maybe a little bit of counting squares. Okay, the other problem, and this one I'm not sure, I'm going to try to solve it. I'm not sure about it. So the game is considering this to be the functional equivalent of a staircase. So when I try to fling here, it attempts to fling down because the step to my east or right on the screen goes down in height by 1. So it thinks of this kind of as a staircase, even though it's not visually depicted that way. And here I'm a little on the fence. I know I want flings to be limited by the stairs, so that the end point of your fling, it will stop once you're no longer on stairs. But do I want stairs to be defined by the specific cosmetic element that looks like what stairs are in the real world, or do I want stairs to be defined logically by the difference in heights? There's advantages and disadvantages with either approach. For matching player expectations, particularly a new player, having the flings be limited to cosmetic stairs would make more sense. So if you're here, your first expectation is that the fling will go whoomp all the way across like it does over here, or even here. Okay. That's probably the way I'm going to go, is say it's going to be cosmetic stairs, not logical stairs that influence the fling. But there is one type of puzzle that could be pretty fun, where if you set up blocks so that they are in the shape of a staircase, you could fling up them. Can't walk up them because the same verb that you'd use to walk up the blocks is the same verb that you would use to destroy a block or push it. So I don't want to add more verbs for the player, like here's a special command for walking upstairs or walking up blocks. But I do have flinging, and I could say that if there's a bunch of blocks and they're arranged with that diagonal slope, you can fling up them. And then suddenly there's a class of puzzles that are just about creating blocks in ways that allow you to travel up them. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try it with the logical stairs first. It's the easier thing to code. I just flip-flopped on it just now. I just flip-flopped. At first I said I'm probably going to do cosmetic stairs. But then I could picture like these puzzles and how fun they might be. And then I want to at least try them out to see if they're good. And also I pictured that it's going to be a lot easier for me to code it with logical stairs as the endpoint of flings instead of cosmetic stairs. So in this session, that's what I'm going to try to do. Change the flings so that they're bounded by the landings of logical stairs. And I'll see how well that works. DZ, glad to have you here, man. We got talking about some weird stuff last night with that scroll guy. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to Evasive Bits, who sent me a really nice video. I don't have permission to replay it, with some mesh combining techniques that might allow me to fix lighting problems. I do want to try that a little bit later, but this session I'm going to do the stairs. Yeah, he did some good research there, and he showed me some techniques that would let me maybe get rid of let me see if I can get one example. There's probably some of it here, but it's just dark. Can't really see. Yeah, of course. Hunting around to find one of these lighting seam problems. Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah. Okay. So picture the hands. They've got two separate brains, and each brain only cares about one thing. First brain cares about rotation. It always rotates the hands to look at the player, and it's got some some lerping in it, so it comes to a gradual slurping, I guess, some logarithmic action, so it comes to a gradual stop. So never mind the second brain. The first brain, all it cares about is rotation. It doesn't care about moving around the hands. Second brain cares about moving around the hands. And again, it's entirely unconcerned about the rotation of the hands. The rotation of the hands will always happen in the same way. The movement of the hands happens in its own separate way. Now, the way that the movement of the hands works, when I say movement, I mean everything but the rotation. It's easier to show you in the scene. So there's these things I have called hand stages, and they're a node map. And there's this cuboid you see here, which is a thing that I added that would give me some kind of hint as to what free area the hands need to move around inside of. So they can rotate inside of that boundary without without leaving that boundary. Background of my question to clarify a bit. Remember, my fox, for now, it just follows behind. Yeah, it might be a different problem because in a way I'm cheating. Okay, I'm cheating by just identifying all the places in the world where I know the hands aren't going to look bad. All these things I call hand stages. Each node is a hand stage. And then there's like some kind of rudimentary pathfinding breadth first search I wrote to calculate a path for these connected nodes to get to whichever hand stage is closest to the target, which is usually the player. Exactly right. That's all it is. I just made my own nav mesh, and the thing that makes this all manageable for me is just this idea that if we have the hands inside of any one of these hand stages, any way they rotate is going to be fine. It's not going to go through an object or go through the player, and they're cinematically arranged too. It's like if there's some kind of dramatic effect you want, then you have the hand stage set up so that when the player's in a certain spot, the hands are going to be close by. Thinking about your fox a bit. Yeah. So I mean that concept might help too. It's like if you think of I mean if you think about your fox and like you don't want it to like you might not want all of its animations to be performed if it's real close to certain meshes that it might look bad with, stuff like that. Maybe there's some value in that, taking that concept across, like making a larger area around the fox. But I guess I'd only explore that if you got problems. And I think you have a harder problem too because you've got a whole 3D world that you want the fox to be able to romp around in. You don't want it to necessarily be constrained to just cinematic areas like I'm doing. That's why I say my way is probably easier, or my problem is probably easier than your problem. Alright, so let me make another scene which will be a throwaway scene. Okay. I'll just make something used for testing stairs. Alright, do the save as. I gotta go get a refill on my coffee. I'll be right back. Let's delete almost everything here. I just saved a copy. It's one of the largest levels, or at least the most complex ones with number of objects. Decorations. Come on. Okay. Hey, Ninja. What's going on? Weird. I do not remember ever seeing that pop up with that UI with these things here. Why am I seeing this now? Oh, I've got something else. The rec tool, I never use that. It's cool. Let's see. So me, I'm making a modification to the game that I wanted to make for a while, where the flinging behavior up and down stairs is confined to stop at the end of the stairs or at landings. I think it'll make the game a lot better. My feedback from the playtesters seems to be that that would be helpful. And I've got to do a short stream. Oh, what? Oh, okay. A whisper. There's a whisper. Okay. Okay. It doesn't seem to be particularly private, so I will show the whisper. I mean, call it a whisper, it sounds like. I don't know, George Michael's Careless Whispers. All right, so I'm going to take a look at this. I suspect... Okay.
Block pads look right.
Wait, let me guess.
Okay, block pads look right. Okay. Block pads look right.
Alright, so So I is off to the left, as is L. Yeah, you know what it is? It was me raising the texture of the letter up a little bit so it wouldn't Z-fight with the thing underneath of it. But the other problem is me trying to make peace with things that look a little bit wrong before I should. And I actually want to treat this as a bug. Now that it's officially bothered one other person a little bit, because I don't want to just be making peace with all these little things that I know about, and then they just kind of add up, and I got like this sort of guilty feeling about them. Let me just add this in. I'm going to call it a bug. The raised letter looks bad at certain angles. So, good call out. Thanks for the clip. Thanks for calling it out. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I just missed your chat because I had other windows up. No, it's the letter. It's the letter. I mean, I could show you why. And it might be worth experimenting with just a tiny bit, but let's take a quick look. Let's put the large one down. It'll probably be most visible with that. Okay. Snapping. Where's my snapping? So at this angle, it looks horrendous. It's clearly off center. At this angle, not bad at all. It's fine. It's fine. At this angle, yeah, you can start to see it. And that's a game angle too, off over there. That's legit. It can show up that way. So to fix it, I can bring this down. Oops, gotta turn off snapping for this one. Just bring it closer. I think I was being pretty generous with that space because I was worried about like maybe in some situations it might Z-fight, like maybe see it way down below, it could Z-fight. But I think I was too generous with it. So if it's just closer, and you come off over here, it looks like it's on the pad instead of raised above it, and that should fix it. But it does mean I have to go through and do another friggin' prefab update. And yeah. Well, let's at least do this. Let's take the block pad. Yeah, I'll go back to the scene. Position Y, 0.043. That seems to be good. Okay, and then the small one. So any new block pads I create will have that. You know what? It won't take that long. Because here's what I'll do. I'll just write some code that sets... that I run one time, that goes and just sets the Y value differently in that up letter. Let's check. But let me leave a note. Yeah, I mean, if I go there's another thing too where certain letters are off center, and I think that can be fixed with some code that I rewrote. Yeah, so I've got like this special casing around certain letters. It looks like I need some for I as well. Let's see what it's supposed to be. Let's see, is the block pad off center? I don't think it is. I mean, if it is, it's just, oh, let me get the camera dead on. I could go ISO. Can I do ISO? Yeah, ISO is the way to go. Okay. So then for I, let's see, we'll say that should be and you know, while I'm at it, I got it all right here. Let's just go through the other letters, see what else might be needed. Oops, that seemed to have been it's X that needs to be adjusted, not Z. Let me just pull a fresh one down. I think I messed this one up with my manipulations. Oh. Oh, well, this doesn't even compile, so that's the old code. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to go through the letters. Let's just do it right, you know? If I just kind of let all the jankiness keep adding up, after a while it'll demoralize me. So 8, well, that's not what we want. What did I regress? What did I regress? Before X was not being set for A. Okay, what would it have been? What is the default X? It's probably not 0. That's probably my issue. Let's say let's turn off this. Yeah, now you're screwed up, so then we gotta bring a new one in. Yeah, let's just see what the default offset is. It is not that, it's this. Okay, the default offset is negative this big long thing here. So set that. I don't think I need that much precision. Probably that will suffice. There we go. All right. This other one I can get rid of. Okay. A. Feels like it should go a little bit to the right. Not that one. So let's do it alphabetical if I have to do a bunch. Because I think that value is just 395 again. Let me check. Yeah, it's 395. Okay. I don't. Not at this point. B. Try this again. If I see a bunch of these that are 395, it might be a better default in general. Yeah, that also looks better at that. Let me get a small block pad up on here too, just to make sure that the code is correct for the different size as well. Okay, let me try some more. Let's see. It just might be a better default in general. I'm going to do some more, see if they all look a little bit off to the left. No, 395 wouldn't be right for C. So far, A, B, C. C, it looks good actually. I'll leave C. D, E, pretty good. I mean, I could nudge it a little, but I think it's really not something that's gonna bother me. F, good. G, H. H needs a nudge. Yeah, if I do, then I think I'm gonna continue with it on, or whatever state it's in now, because if I change it, then I gotta go through this again. So if it does have an effect, then I don't want to have to, redo all this little nudging stuff by changing it. It's not going to take me that long to go through all these. So there's I. There's H corrected. J. J looks good to me. K. It could use a little nudge, but it looks basically good. I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, but I'm gonna be done with this in 5-10 minutes tops. This whole struggle between deciding what you're gonna invest in and what you're just gonna kind of plow through with a little bit of repetition. It's a familiar thing. We've been through that. All right, M needs the N needs a nudge. And now I can just kind of eyeball it, and I can almost tell if it's going to be one of these cases where it benefits from the nudge or not. Or the amount should be the 395. Alright. Then, yeah, O needs it. I might end up flipping this code. So far it's like the X is either this or it's this, but in more cases it's this, so I might flip it around. Okay, O. P, yeah, P needs it. Q I'm leaving alone. It's got that tail to contend with. Okay, so get P in there. R, yeah, R needs it. S needs it. T needs it. U needs it. V, yes. Okay, so R through V. This isn't bad actually. M, letter less than equal V. I suspect W is going to be one of the weird letters. W, just let it be. X. X is like it's too far, a little too far to the left. Not much though. I'm not going to change it. Y. Z. And Y and Z look fine. Sure. So wrapping is enabled. Overflow. Alignment up above. Well, that's the okay. The rect transform. You're talking about this stuff. So it's centered vertically and horizontally. Okay, so I think this actually isn't too bad. Cool. Yeah, but like this is editor code. It runs, or not, it's not editor code, it's load code. So it runs one time when the scene loads. It's pretty fast. I'm done with it. Maybe it's a tiny bit crufty. There could be a more elegant solution, but it's gonna work. It's gonna work. So I'll run through the small one, just make sure I didn't introduce something weird with it. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. That looks double A good. Yeah. Tell you though, if I go and make the symbol thing, then I'm switching entirely to the other way we talked about, which is just have my own texture with the character set on it, and select it and rip out Text Mesh Pro. I'm just right on the edge of doing that right now. If there's one more thing I had to do, I would rip it out and replace TM Pro. Like if there's one more thing that was like more than 30 minutes to do, it's time to rip it out. Okay, now stairs. Let me also add to my release notes, since I just fixed something. Letters centered better on block paths. Although I still need to do this thing here, but I'll get to it later. All right, stairs. So let's get some test stairs in place. Stairs 2, stairs 4. So I'm changing the flinging behavior so that if you're at the bottom of the stairs and you fling upwards, your fling will stop at the top of the stairs, the landing at the top. And at the bottom, I think the flinging behavior is already, like if you're flinging down the stairs, I think the behavior is already correct. Right now it tries to have the fling continue up at the same angle past the end of the steps. Okay. The other thing I want to be able to test here is, yeah, and this is one that it was actually an intentional decision to allow the player to fling past the steps, but I just don't think it's the best way anymore. And it's supported by playtesters being confused. And the other thing I was wrestling over that I want to try first is allowing what I call logical stairways to function exactly the same as cosmetic stairways. So these things look like stairs, but logically speaking, a bunch of blocks that are stacked together are the gameplay equivalent. The mechanics treat them the same way. You're allowed to walk up any square that's just one higher than where you're at currently. So it's not too hard for me to change the code to allow logical stairways to be the bounds of a fling. It's a little more work to change it for cosmetic steps to do that, maybe 2 hours. No, you can do it. You can do it. So let me also add a wall so I can just test the flinging before I make the change. Right now it wouldn't allow you to fling up the stairs because it would take you off the level bound, so I'll put a little border here. Okay, and let's drop an egg, so if I die I can just restart real quick. Okay, then we will unpack. I'm just going to make a note here, since I do some of these things quite a bit. I got another to do like that down here. I'll just move into that above section. Yeah. Okay, that's unpacked. Pre-process. And I'll just test this out. Yeah, that seemed to have a pretty good investment, but it's right on the edge. I spent a lot of time on that. Okay. That's how it currently works when you fling up the stairs. But the behavior I want is it'll fling doot, 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 and just stop right there. Yeah, like all the stuff about putting edges around the floors, oh man, that takes forever if you do it manually. Yeah. And I think it might be neat with these blocks, if I kind of preserve this fling to the top behavior, is you'd be able to construct little mountains of blocks that allow you to go up them. You can't step up them here because it'd be the same action that also pushes the block. And I don't want to add more verbs. Like sometimes you press one key to walk up the stairs, sometimes you press another key to push. So I can get a really cool type of puzzle, I think, by just changing the fling behavior. Alright, so I have some code already. Yeah, so if I let the fling be the same thing as climbing, then yeah, I can do it. So I think that'll be a good solution if I get it working. Let's see about this other code I've got. It was like decorator. No, that's not it. That's not it either. Yeah, this one. Where is this defined? There it is. So this function, it will say for one square in the board, if any of its orthogonally adjacent neighbors are one lower than that square, it might be stairs. I think I'll refactor this. So let's go to the game code. Logic. yoink this out and let compiler errors tell me what I need to fix. Okay. All right. This. Okay. So I moved some editor-only code into a different place in the source hierarchy, and that's for code that's accessible in the game. So now I need to go to my logic. Sure, you know what? I mean, I could send it to you. I haven't. The only thing that stops me from just making a big old open source release is I haven't gotten into publisher negotiations yet, and I don't want to undercut any of my negotiations by having released something open source. But I can privately send you the source. You're like somebody that's helped me out quite a bit. I don't mind it at all. No, you're all right. You're all right. Besides, it's in my intent to open source it. And I think I can send you the source. I won't send you all the assets though. Just logistically, it's a pain. I'll just send you the source code. But if you don't mind, send me an email to info@cspacelabs.com, and that's the easiest way for me to send it to you. I'll put that on the chat window. info@cspacelabs.com. Okay, this is no longer being used. Yank that out. Okay. Where am I? Piece. Okay. Fling. This residue, can delete that. Where are my fling functions? My top level fling. Here it is. Okay, so we say okay, it's all in this function. Well, it varies, but on Saturdays I usually get 8 hours in. Sundays I usually get 8 hours in. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. On the weekdays, 2 to 4 hours. Huh. Let me think about that just briefly. 5 times 3, 15, plus 8 plus 8. That's pretty close to a second job. I'm almost full-time on this. It makes me happy, actually. Huh. I never thought about that before. So instead of having this feeling like I'm just, a sad little moonlighter with confined time and everything, I can say I'm almost working on this like a full-time job. I am grateful that I have that much time to work on it. So I got the regular job, pays the bills, got my passion project here, and I can say I've been working full-time on this for 189 days in a row. It pays off. It's even worth it as I do it. Like I enjoy it. Like it wouldn't need a giant payoff at the end. I've heard about it, but I'm not into it. So like I've watched some demos. This guy has really entertaining YouTube videos. His name is Code Bullet, and he had some AI simulations where he used neat AI in it and saw different improvements. So just in a shallow way, I'm aware of it. Is that something you're into? Oh, sounds like you got a good program at your school. Are you in some special STEM school? It sounds like a good school. All right. It sounds decent, though. So we'll see if it's not a logical stair. Board. This has got maybe a 50-50 chance of working the first time. Clear it. Let's not do maximize, so I can have my console window down here. Ooh. Okay. That's exactly what I wanted. I can't go back down unless I in one. Okay, hold on. Okay, so if I step in one, first time, it goes to the second to last step. First time. That makes me happy. And I like it too. I like this new behavior quite a bit. The only thing I'm still toying with in my mind, if it's ideal or not, is the downward fling behavior. I know why it works the way it does. But it feels like maybe it ought to go one more step. Also, I wonder, okay, so right now it's saying, and kind of correctly too, that from the top of the steps, it's a flat fling. It's not back down the steps. I know why it does that, because it considers this top step to be at the same height as the floor next to it. And so when it's looking at this landing square here and square south, it says that's flat. So if you want to fling, you're going to fling flat. But if I step in one more, then it goes down. It takes me not all the way to the bottom, like I might expect, but to this topmost square. So I'm pretty sure I want to write a little bit of special casing to make it go one more step. And I think it's going to be easy because the old code used to work for detecting that. And all I need to do is make this condition only be applied for going up. Let's try that. Yeah, so that's good. So what remains is, do I want to preserve the flat fling when you're at the top landing? Or do I want it to be perfectly symmetrical so that when you fling to the top, you can fling right back the way you came, instead of having to walk one square down the steps? I know what the player expectations would be. They would want to be able to just kind of fling back the way they came immediately instead of going flat. But there is a thing where, like, maybe you want to use that top square on the landing to fling flat. So if I force it to go back down the steps the way you came, now I am removing one thing the player could do. Also, this other case, here it seems very clear that you would want to fling flat if you went south, because just visually the top of this block looks like something that should be flat, whereas the top of this stair here does not. Okay, there's one other thing I could do. Could have the end of the fling not put you on the landing, but on the top step instead. If I did that, then you could just fling back down. And if you're flinging in this way, you would land here instead of one pass. That actually would look better. I think that solves all my problems. Okay. Starting to get happy. Multiple waves of happiness. Okay, so the trick here . That's right. So the reasoning for that, it ties into not wanting to give the player a bunch of different commands to learn. So they just have to do things with 8 commands. I know, but my design sensibility is I hate games where there's a jump button and there's a act with object button, there's an inventory button, and there's a hate it. So other people love it. Other people feel shorted that they don't have like 20 different buttons they can push, but gotta make the game I like. Yeah. Yeah, it's just I just don't see a way to make the climb up one step behavior without without adding like a new verb. And I don't think it's a good trade. And there's something kind of interesting too about maybe constraining the player to have to fling up the blocks, because then they have to set up a plan to get wherever they want to be. I think it'll work. It might evolve some other way, but I'm pretty sure it's a decent compromise between the different things you might want to do. Okay, so Yeah, yeah. So the trick with this function is it's designed to evaluate one square at a time. I think I want a little look ahead on this. I think that is what helps me see it. Let's make both me and Ninja happy by doing a git commit right here, because this is one version of working code. I'm going to change it, and I might want to get back to where I was at. See, Ninja, you're a positive influence on me. I'm thinking Ninja would do a git commit. He would have done 10 git commits before this one. Who am I to just keep on working all under one giant monolithic commit? Okay. Let me take this out. Let's see. I think about this stuff too. Could allow recursion here. Because in my check, for looking ahead, I want to be able to also see if there's like, you know, a blocking piece on the stairs or something like that. Okay, that also means I should let this code run through. So we'll say m piece not equals null. That piece will either catch or block. Okay. say if it is recursing, we'll actually do the check. To see if this is if we're at the end of the steps. For that we say return pass, which signals that we keep going. But if it's not a stair, we say catch, end of the steps. Okay, if we haven't recursed yet, then I don't want to perform this check right away. I want to recursively call this function to perform the check. That we just pass all the same stuff again. CRH, these should all not be modified underneath. Okay, that's true. CRH, new C, new R, new H, DC, DR, true. Okay, so it'll recurse one time. And then once it's recursing, it's going to actually perform the check. But I need to have this. Okay, so this is. Alright. Yeah, pass a different value here, though. I can't pass the same one. This is going to be yeah, I was starting to like do something that would have ended up being a little more complicated and kind of duplicating all the logic inside of this fling check, and then it's like, oh, that's not going to be very maintainable. One more with that. Okay, let's say DH equals, let's see, int DH equals new H minus H. Well, it's just going to be 1. It's always going to be 1. Okay, so I don't need to do that. We'll just say new H plus 1 DCDR, true. Okay. And then I think I'll line break it here. Board? Is that what you want? Yeah, okay. Yeah, recursion is its own complexity, but I think it's less complex than the other thing that I would have done, which would have been like inlining the recursion more or less. Okay. Now, if this logic changes in the future for some reason, then it'll still apply to the upward fling. I won't have to keep on updating it in 2 places. Alright, that's definitely trickier. I think I'll give this a 49% chance of working the first time. Oh, it's complaining about something. Oh, did I just leave it running? And that's probably what happened. Let me try it again. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay. Whew. That's it. That's what I wanted. See, here it's flat. You do have to step in one if you want to go down the steps. I'm going to celebrate with a git commit. This is the behavior I want. Git status. And this is great. So the play testers, the 2 guys I got banging on it right now are very advanced puzzle solvers, and they're also used to this thing, which I think is terrible, not for them, but they're also used to finding whatever the game behavior is, whatever weird kind of obscure thing is in it, and exploiting it, and then just accommodating that behavior instead of being confused by it. That's their mindset. They're both in that class. It's a draw player thing. Whereas one player will say, this is confusing, it doesn't make sense to me. They just kind of like take a note, oh, that's how it works. So I had a little bit of pressure on me based on my knowledge of how their brains work to remove the old behavior that I didn't think would last or be good before they start counting on it and using it to solve puzzles and things like that. So, okay. Let's move. This to the release notes. Flinging upstairs will now end at top of stairs. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna fix this too, I think, because otherwise this is like effectively crying wolf to me, because it's if I get in the habit of just seeing these 3 warnings down here and not do anything about it, then other warnings will pop up and I won't notice them. So let me see what I have to do to change this. Okay. It's not just deprecated, it's obsolete. I think there was another thing too. Okay, use get prefab asset type. Okay, I think I've got some code already. So, what are the two cases it's trying to handle here? I'm going to come back to that in just a second. I'll be right back. So it's saying, if the thing you passed him was a prefab, then instantiate a prefab. If the thing you passed him was not a prefab, just instantiate a copy of it. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. I think I'll just kind of encapsulate this whole thing. Is prefab. This, let's get rid of. So I was confused by this thing, all these different things you could check on, so I made a mono behavior I can just add on to something and see what it says it is. So I'll do that. Let's grab my friend the block pad. Okay, I'll make two of them. I'll make one that is unpacked. Okay. show the attributes for that one. The first one is unpacked. The second one is still connected. Okay, what does it tell me? It's just false all the way through for the first one. For the second one, this is probably the one that matters. Is the outermost prefab instance root? Let me look at the documented definition of that. I have to appreciate the name of this function because someone took some pains with it. I mean, it's very precise. It's hard to understand just to read it, but there's some precision to it. I'm also going to say the documentation here was good because I've complained so many times to them about bad documentation. When they actually write good documentation, it's like, yeah, go do it. Write more docs like that. This is good docs. Let's see. Boom. Okay, is outermost prefab instance root. That's what I want. Is outermost prefab instance. Well, I can remember it. Okay. Prefab utility is outermost, that one. Okay. The ones that upset me are when somebody writes the documentation and they said use this function to determine if the game object is the outermost space prefab space instance space root. They took the name of this. They didn't tell you anything new. They had no understanding of themselves clearly. They just kind of write like something that looks like it's plausibly documentation, but it gives you no new information. Yeah, you gotta be nice to future you. You gotta take care of future you. Write yourself some love letters. Okay, so if I build that, okay. So no warnings. The question is, does it work? Let's try replacing the small one with the large one. Or is this the small? Is that the small one? Let's replace the large one with the small one. Works. Oh yeah, yeah. The other thing I did along those lines that was good for me is I made assembly definitions and put all the third-party assets in their own assembly definition, and it was good for the same reason. I didn't have to continuously see the warnings of everybody's crappy third-party code, or just maybe code they didn't continue to update as Unity moved along. And then also build speed much better, because it doesn't attempt to rebuild all that extra source when you're actually changing, you know, something that's unrelated to it. It took me maybe a couple hours to set up, but those ASM defs, those were a good investment. Okay. Yeah. And so if you go in the project, yeah, this is like one of the things that it wasn't a fun task, so it took me a long time to get around to it. But it wasn't so bad once I finally got to it. Anything build related just doesn't sound very interesting, you know. But let me see what I can find. Go up to assets. Okay, you got these ASM defs here. And each directory that you put an ASM def in kind of makes its own library or assembly or build output. So when you add multiple ASM defs in different folders, it breaks your project's build outputs up into discrete pieces. It makes for faster builds, and it lets you get free of all the third-party asset warnings, which are like, if you got third-party assets, you've got warnings. It's just kind of as simple as that. I looked into options for just like disabling warnings per project, and there's nothing like that. You could go in and change the source and add pragmas to it, but then like as soon as they release an update to a third-party asset and you want to, you know, bring that in your project, then you have to redo the pragmas again. So it just was a better solution, I found, to put the third parties in their own. Then I went a little bit further. I didn't get too granular, but I also noticed that there's a class of scripts for level controllers that I could think of as being separate from the main engine code. And I figured at some point I'll probably be pretty active in the level controllers, but not very active in the project code. So that means that my builds will go faster, because I won't continuously be updating the engine code and making builds off of those. But I didn't see a huge amount of advantage to just breaking out more granular than that. Yeah. So I just went with those 3 buckets, and it seems to have been a good strategy. Third-party asset one, I definitely recommend that. That was a game changer. Okay. Is there anything else I want to do in this session? I do have some errands to do today. I think let's do a git commit. Fix deprecated calls in prefab placer. Okay. The other one that would be nice to just finish up on is replacing the block pads. I think I can write a quick little utility that will make the fix here. And it can be one-time code that runs. So in the editor, in fact, I'll just put it directly inside of here. We'll say fix the block pad raised effect. Block pad discovery. it's gonna just go ahead and do all this. So let's see. Is that right? Objects of type. There we go. For each block, nope. Block pad discovery. Block pad goes. Okay, so I want to get the transform of the up letter. So we'll say transform up letter equals game object util find child transform by path. Let's see what the path will be. It's going to be offset period up letter. This needs a parent transform, so block pad transform. If up letter not equal null, yeah, it was a little utility function that I wrote. They kept having to do it. There might be a better way to do it that's built into Unity. It's kind of expensive code too, so it's like you want to find it once, set it to a convenience var, and then reuse the convenience var. Okay, vector 3 position up letter position. Okay, position. Let's do local position. Make sure I get local position. That's important. And I had value 0.043. Okay, this one I better step through. Okay, and then let's screw these up a little bit. Screw them up a lot. Why not? I expect for there to be 2 game objects. There is. Yay. Okay. Non-null. Awesome. Awesome. The position Y should be something kind of crazy. Yeah, that seems about right. looking good. Looking healthy. Yeah, all right. That's the ticket. Okay. Now we'll go through my levels and apply it to each one. And it's going to take 20 minutes. Maybe less. But I predict it'll take 20. Let's see. You see how they're off to the side? We'll see if, yeah, pops them right into place. Okay, save, keep going. We will look very closely. Deep corridor doesn't have any. Yeah, that's true. First death. First ice does not have any. Ice plus blocks. Here's the level. Here's the one where all the trouble started. Let's look at it. Although, here, I'm gonna hide all the blocks so you can see it. Gotta prove it to you, man. Okay, so first off, they're a little more centered now, right? Because we did that text adjustment thing. But if you go off to the left, yeah, they look wrong. Okay, so let's fix it. Bam, just like that. Turn the blocks back on, and we save. Now, I'm not continuing until you're satisfied. I'm not going on to the next one. Not yet. Are you okay with it? The ortho from the top, okay. Let's important that we get the quality control right here. Let's go ortho. That's a good idea. And although ortho is weird sometimes, it'll see. Sometimes it decides the depth of field is not. Let me see if I can get it to. Alright, so these guys, and let's go. So, yeah, it's going to do a weird depth of field nonsense thing. Okay, hold on. Which one are you calling out? I, D, or E? All of them? You're saying just the placement of it here. Okay. You know what? It's a snap. It's a snap error. You caught it. You caught it. That's it. It needed a snap. That was it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good eye. Good eye. Very good eye, sir. Oops. No, no. Leave that be. Alright, save that one, keep going. Ice plus blocks in the egg, none in there, kill a block. This is going much faster than the prefab replacement thing we did before. Okay, did you actually save? Huh. No, these are good quality improvements. This is the kind of polish that I need to be looking after. It's like you get used to all the junky things after a bit and you think they don't matter, but they still matter. I'm not seeing the pre-process run, but I think it's okay. As long as it's saving. Did you save? Huh. Yeah, I don't know why the pre-process didn't run. Alright. Alright, so that's Larry Merck level. Little arena. Has no block pads. Lower basement. I don't think it does, but I'll double check. It's actually just easier just to run this than to check. Okay. And after I finish this, I'm gonna end the stream maybe a little bit abruptly. Because I gotta get going on some errands people are counting on me for. Lower basement, middle basement. Lower basement, what's the next one? Paradise. Let's just do it. We'll take long. Also, I don't know why Unity just defaults to seeing views in such weird places. Like, it doesn't even remember the last place I was at when I left the scene. It should do better at that, I think. But that's a bug or an improvement for Unity. And that will have to be somebody else that fixes that. Boom. Plundy paths. Oh yeah, there's that too. It's like I have to keep on clicking all the way in. Yeah, there's just some little refinements they could make that would save a fair amount of time. Okay. Rail pushing. It looks like maybe 4 more levels. Slightly low. The fork has one block pad in it. If I do many more things like this, I might want to think about writing some general purpose script that just opens every scene and runs some code on it. So I'm sure this won't be the last time I go through a pass of levels to update everything. This is the fork. Next, the whelm. The other thing that I might want to do, which is like in the same family, is write a build process that outputs like a separate scene that actually goes into the player, but it's not the same scene that you use for authoring. Yeah, it's just all these little things. Like if I can see that the effort will pay off with not having as much time spent doing repetitive things and etc., then most of the time I should do it. I don't want to be like somebody that gets all prissy and proud about their editor tools, though. They're just purely there to save me time in the overall project. I have to keep reminding myself of that so I don't go off on a rabbit hole. Alright, that should be the last one. I think just to have a little bit of fun, I'm going to hit play and try out the new stair behavior on an actual level. This is a good one to do it on, and then I'm going to stop the stream at the end of that. Okay, are you playing? I don't know if you're going to play Unity. Oh, there's the spinner. There we go. There's my better looking letters on the blocks, block pads. Yeah, it's a good stream. Alright guys, DZ, Ninja, whoever else might be lurking, thanks for joining, and I'll catch y'all later. Stopping the stream! Yeah, you're a great help. Thanks a lot, Ninja. I'll see you. I'll send you the source too, but shoot me an email.